So this is the centerfold from Detective Comics number 359. As you can see, it has been repaired amateurish way. And I can see what's going on here is the repair has been with pretty cheap paper just to hold the book together. And has a lot of brittle, it's very brittle, right? Missing pieces here that have been filled with pulp of the wrong size. So this is pretty thick area. There's a piece here that has been glued back on with pulp. You can see it. You can see these rips. You can see color differential between the top and the sides. I think the sides look very healthy, the top not so much. So what we're going to try to do for this project, guys, is try to fill in re-wet this, get rid of the old leaf casting, and get an idea what the color of this Belgian waffle color, yellow color of the comics is with the color muse, and then try to match it so that we can do this centerfold justice, right? All right, so that's the project for the next couple of shows, and we're gonna start now. So the first thing I'm gonna do is measure the lab values for the lighter areas on the book and try to match them, and then try to do the entire top and bottom and the sides and the middle with a bit of furnish that will cover these horrendous areas, right? And bring the book back to life, essentially, right? So we're gonna go ahead and do the readings. I have to stop recording because this has to interface with my iPhone to do it, right? And I'll give you the lab readings after I take a few lab readings from the sides and from the back to get an average of what these lab readings are going to be. All right. All right, the next thing we're going to do is use the color muse, right, to read the lab values on various areas of the wrap, the centerfold, right? And get the averages, right? Get the lab averages on them. And so I'm gonna shut off the camera and try to do that and get back to you guys. All right. All right, so I got an average of lab readings of 72, 5, and 24. So we're gonna go now to Photoshop and try to figure out the color combination of fibers to use, right, from this list. Color combination of fibers to use to combine them in certain percentages to get a final reading of 72, 5, and 24. What would it take, right? And remember, your fibers might be different than mine, and your readings might be different than mine, so your combinations will be different, slightly different, right? So we're all gonna have to deal with that, our own thing. All right, I'm gonna go now to Photoshop, start a new file, and it's gonna be 10 by 10 pixels, RGB color, right? Create it. We're gonna zoom in on it next. Right? Let me zoom out a little bit. Okay, and then we're gonna fill it with the value of 72, 5, and 24. 72, 5, and 24. So if you do that, you can go now to the paint bucket and paint it. So this is the color we are trying to achieve according to our measurements, 72, 5, and 24. Okay, what kind of color combinations now we need? What kind of fiber combinations we need? We can go to Image, Mode, Index Color, and I already have the palette to be the previous palette I used, which is exactly the palette I need to use. But if you don't have it, you can just clear this, go to Custom, and then load the palette that you want. My palette is this one here, all colors 2.act, right? Here's the palette. And you want dither to be pattern. Say okay. And if your histogram is not open, you can go to Windows and open it from here. But the histogram is important here in this case because what you do next is go to the magic wand, set the tolerance to 1. And after you do that, make sure anti-alias and contiguous are also unchecked, right? So you want to set tolerance to 1, anti-alias and contiguous should be unchecked. And then when you click on a color, like this color here, it'll tell you this color is required at 9%, right? And the color required at 9% would have the, let me see, if we go to Windows and info. So if you look at the info here, if you go over this color, and you can change so that you can read lab values, right? Panel options, you want the lab color, right? And you move over it, it'll tell you this color is 67, 2, and 35, right? 67, 2, and 35, according to my sheet, is honeycomb. So 9% of my fibers would be honeycomb, would have to be honeycomb. If you click on this color, it is the color for 75, 4, and 24, required at 56% according to the histogram. So 56% of my fibers will have to be this color, right? And this color here is husk 75, 4, and 24, and so on. So this is how you do it. So once you get all your color combinations, you can put them now into an Excel sheet or write them down so you don't forget what they are and their proportions. And I'm gonna write their proportions into Excel and show you what I got at the end. So hang tight, guys. All right, so I got, for my colors, I got tone tanned artist paper at 6% concentration, honeycomb paper at 9% concentration, husk paper at 56% concentration, and Gambi 10 at 29% concentration. So if I want to make 1 gram of fiber, what I would do, total 1 gram of fiber, 29% of that 1 gram would have to be Gambi 10 and 56% would have to be husk. So 0.56 grams husk, 0.29 grams Gambi, 0.09 grams honeycomb, and 0.06 grams tone tan paper. And that should add up to 1, essentially, in this case. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and weigh the fiber in my new scale that measures in very, very fine amounts. So I'm gonna use it to measure exact amounts and combine them and put them in water overnight and then process them, and then we can do the leaf casting, which looks pretty bad, right? And the colors hopefully will match, and we'll be able to do a better job at least than this. This is ridiculous, right? Look at that. Yeah, so we need to re-flatten this, and it's not flattened well, and there's a crease in here, and so re-wet it, redo it, and take care of these edges and so on. This is a whole missing piece here. Looks like a half a circle, right? Look at this piece here. So yeah, it's in dire need of sealing.